Hello, fellow ant keepers, and today I'm going back to basics. Not basics though, that topic has already been done to death by other ant keeping YouTubers. Today I'll be feeding my 4 colonies. 4. Those colonies, for those of you who haven't really watched me before, are a Myrmica rubra colony of about 300 to 400 workers, a Lasius colony of about the same size, a Camponotus nicobarensis colony of about 30 or 40 workers, and a Massa colony of about 70. Let's start off with my Myrmica rubra colony, but before feeding them, look at this little chamber that they're sitting in. There doesn't look to be any eggs in there, so I'm not really too sure on what they're doing. Anyway, let's start feeding them and... the glass is a bit dirty. Let's fix that real quick. Better. Chopping in a few mealworms now. No need to put in some drops of sugar water on wax paper as they already have all the carbohydrates they need, courtesy of the Biformica liquid feeders and ant nectar that I unboxed last week. If you haven't seen that video, it's up... which side? I think it's this one. I could be wrong though. Anyway, back to the ants and... Whoa! That's a lot. Like, a lot. Like, more than I can count on my 2 hands. Probably I didn't actually count them. It's mesmerizing, no? So many individual ants, all serving just the one colony, all sharing this common goal of getting the protein to the larvae, so they can develop, hatch, and continue the cycle. You can continue watching now. I filled up my camera's SD card with all the footage, or skip forward to the next feeding at this timestamp. The decision is yours. Okay, now onto my Lasius niger colony, my very oldest colony, clocking in at just about 2 years in age now. At the time I was filming this, I had some really nice plums. Like, they were good plums. So I cut a few sections out and placed them inside their outworld. They were pretty inquisitive about the plums, but didn't really start feeding on it. Let's chop in a few mealworms too. I really love this colony. In a way, they're perfect, not constantly trying to escape or shit on the walls like my Mesobarbarus, not as ravenous as my Camponotus nicobrensis colony is growing to be. They're just nice to observe, their tiny black bodies scampering in great numbers around the setup. Again, I've got loads and loads of footage. Here's the timestamp if you want to skip past it. And now onto my Camponotus nicobrensis colony. And just to show you how incredibly hungry they are for protein, I'm going to be doing 2 feedings, only 1 day apart from each other. First feeding, 3 mealworms, and watch how quickly they demolish it. You would have thought that this would fill them up for 4 or 5 days, if not more, but no. Nope. This is how they were eating just 1 day after. This time next year, I believe this colony will have thousands of workers marching across the ant room in tubing. These ants love their ant nectar, though they haven't really been feeding on it for the past few days. I wonder if they would prefer drinking from drops of ant nectar on wax paper as opposed to the liquid feeders. Let's see. Look at this ant placing a chunk of cocoa fibre on a particularly big drop of nectar. I think that this is because it realised that it's big enough for one of its sisters to drown while trying to feed on it. Just behind the cocoa fibre ant, there's one taking a drink from one of the drops, though she quickly cleared off. While it is true that one was feeding on the drop and none from the feeder, I think the ant feeding from the drop was doing so to check what it was, see if it had any new things in it. Then it realised it was ant nectar and decided the colony already had enough of that in their social stomachs. And finally, onto my Mesa colony, which is doing pretty great. They have all the seeds that they really need, so I can't really feed them that. Or any sugary stuff either, as whenever they want it, they can just get it from the liquid feeder. Let's see if they'll take a mealworm. Usually, they don't really go for insect protein that much, but I've heard that as Mesa colonies get bigger, they get more and more interested in insect protein. I think this colony has got to the critical point in its growth where it feels comfortable with sending soldiers out to deal with mealworms. Previously, they were just too dangerous to justify sending workers out for. I mean, look at what the mealworm body is doing here. But now they have so many, and a good number of soldiers, they can do it. Look at how they drag the carcass into the nest for further consumption. with that said, if you enjoyed this video or learned something, then drop a like and subscribe. If you didn't, then don't, and I'll see you in the next video.